Well, it's a good evening from a winter's day in Queensland, from the studios of Radio FM 88. Of course, our friends in the Northern Hemisphere are going into a sweltering 30-degree plus, and of course, none other than our co-host, Priti Pauline. And without further ado, we've also got Michelangelo. He's come on, this will be his fifth time on the show. He brings forth all the natural what do you call it, healing methodologies. And so without further ado, he's going to be talking about dentistry. So Pauline, I'll hand it over to you, mate.
Hello, Jeff. It's lovely to be here again. Michelangelo is oops, here I am, there I am. Michelangelo is visiting here in the UK and I'm hosting him. So it's very nice that he's here, but it makes a bit of a problem with the landscape and the portrait. Haha. So I'm going to keep the focus on Michelangelo and say welcome. Hello. And Michelangelo has been my teacher for many, many years, and he's been teaching also the natural life system throughout the world, which promotes the idea that nature is perfect and that disease and illness and everything, they're also perfect too.
Good.
And it comes to pass that the first phase of life is the oral phase. And within that, it's a big shift for the food that we eat and the connection with mother, and also oral restoration. As we grow older, perhaps things happen to our teeth and our gums. So I wanted to ask Michelangelo, tell us a little bit about oral restoration, the way in which the natural life system approaches it.
Yes, the natural life system approaches the mouth and the oral approach with a complete opposite way than the mainstream. We look at teeth as living entities, and the parts like the gums and the nerves are all related with the internal organs. In fact, each tooth is related with a meridian of the Chinese acupuncture. And through the reflexology, we could also help. For example, sometimes there are idiopathic pains because the dentists do not know that this pain is there, but they see the tooth is perfect. Because the tooth becomes a sort of signal, like you have in your car on the dashboard. You have many signals which enable you to understand what's going on in the car. If the petrol is missing, if the oil is missing, if the battery is not working, if the brakes are low in the pads. And every time there is a problem, the light switches on. And nobody would be so crazy to go and pull it out or switch off, unless they know what the meaning is carried by this light. And this you can access very easily because you open the glove compartment and you take out the instruction manual in which is written each meaning of each light. Here we did not get gifted of the instruction manual when we were born because we don't have any glove compartment or a pocket in our back, and we cannot access to the manual because the manual is much more perfect. It's related. It's well understood. We have already spoken in previous talks. We were mentioning the 5 elements of the body, the 5 couples of organs which rule all the functions of the body. And these 5 couples of organs are also affecting directly the teeth. And when you have a certain tooth which is damaging or decaying, or there is a pain in this tooth, we know that the organ related is showing a certain excess of energy that makes the tooth like a sort of fuser or a breaker that has to break when there is too much electricity which runs in the circuit. And this electricity, in our case, is not really electricity, it's bioelectricity, but is the energy, which is a different concept which we already spoke previously. and that's what makes us alive. And each organ has a typology of energy that, when is excessive, obliges the body to have its own protections, and the teeth are as part of this protection. They are less indispensable than a liver or than a heart, that if you miss them, you cannot survive. So when these organs are in a super stress of excess of energy, the tooth related starts to decay or it starts to give problem. In this way, I gave a lecture in East London a few months ago in February, and the title was What the Dentists Don't Tell You. And that they cannot tell you because they don't know. What you don't know, you cannot tell the people. And because the approach, again, is not to be critical or competitive, I don't care. I'm offering what the Chinese already gave the world 5,000 years ago, with the 5 elements of Taoistic medicine, and each tooth which has a decay is the signal that there is a stress or an excess of energy running on the meridian of that organ. And I would like to remind that the energy can be physical, but can also be pure energy like electricity, and other energy more subtle, which are the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. Of course, when we have an imbalance on each one of these, or one of these departments, we may affect the organ, which at this point will affect the tooth in question, in the matter.
Okay.
So, okay.
So, for people who don't know about the 5 elements, what are the pairs of organs that we're talking about?
Well, we start with the 5 seasons, which is much easier to be understood. We have the year is divided by the Chinese medicine in the 4 seasons that we know, and in each change of season there is a period which is overruled by a couple of organs, which in reality there are 3, but 2 are one couple. Are one organ, like the spleen and the pancreas are one organ, and the stomach is the opposite organ, which creates the energy, the positive and the negative, the empty and the full. And these this pair of organs, they rule the change of when you pass from one season to the other. So then the most, let's say, visible of these 5 seasons, the 5th season, which is related with the element earth, is when there is the change from the summer to the autumn. And that's much more visible because you can see also in nature when the leaves become yellowish and red, and they start to decay, to go down. They're not down yet, but this is the moment in which the nature as a particular color is more visible. When, anyhow, just to mention to the normal practicality, you see that the people who have stomach problems, during the change of the season, they see an increase of their problem, because that's the moment in which the organ is subdued or is obliged to work more, because his role is like the director of the orchestra, that being a normal player during the year, but during its moment has to work more, so cannot give the performance on the physical level of ruling the energy of the body, plus the emotional energy, because all the people who have ulcers and inflammations of the stomach, they have some probably some emotional situations which they cannot handle, or they cannot accept. Maybe they don't forgive, they cannot refrain to over criticize. And the guilt also, it's another energy which is related with the stomach. So with this explanation, you can start to see that there is not only the physical level, but we start to introduce the concept of the emotional level, which also can affect the teeth. In my experience, I've seen already people that have a little decay on some teeth, also working besides Giovanni. We have seen, for example, in Japan, 10 years ago, there was a lady who had only 3 small cavities, and Giovanni was suggesting her to fill them and to protect these 3 teeth. But in that moment, she was very, very stressed because her father was dying. And she said, I cannot. Giovanni said, but you can take a couple of hours, you can fix this, and then your teeth are protected. No, I will do the next time when everything is finished, then I will do, and I will ask this repair. Okay, 4 months later, we were there, and she came, the 3 teeth, they were totally destroyed. So instead of putting a little bit of this composite or glass ionomeric filling, he had to replace it with crowns, which also on not only on the physical level, which is a pity, but also economically, it costed practically more than 10 times what she would have spent, you know.
So a little bit of prevention, and a little bit of foresight is worth it. And it's interesting that the day my dad died, out came a crown that Giovanni had put in. So I didn't realise how stressed everything was going at that time, but there's a very big bond between daughters and their fathers. And that too, it just fell out all of its own accord. So that's something else that you wouldn't advocate. Is no extractions.
Oh, yes. Well, we just started, so it's not, we did not touch all the subjects, but one of the issues that we are, suggesting the people to respect is that the body releases the teeth when they have finished to serve the body itself, So we have seen that, like in your case, but many other cases, that at a certain point, a tooth which has already been decayed, has been treated and everything, it has finished its work and then is released by itself. So Giovanni, for example, does not suggest in his teachings no extractions and no sort of implants. This, for us, the implants is one of the most dangerous and destructive approach to the mouth. Because remember, the implants are a mechanical structure that has been preparing the jaw or the bone has to be drilled. So you drill like if you put a plug into the wall, so they treat the body. That's the big difference between the system and the normal science. We see the body not as a non-living structure, is a structure which has vitality, is alive, is made of cells. And then when you lose a tooth, if you go and drill the bone, you already create a terrible intervention, but not only, especially in the mouth, where there are all the meridians which are arriving and they are connected with the organs. But then you put an alien object that the body probably would like to reject. That's why now in the protocols they give you anti-rejection and antibiotics. And because most of the time they made the calculation that 50% of the implants would be rejected if they don't take the antibiotics. So it's quite scary. And not mentioning also all the injection of anesthetics and the other things that are done, which they oblige at least from 3 to 6 months after the plug has been put to wait before putting the final implant. So, and then we have seen many also very important people, they put the implants which are much more costly than any other intervention, and they, after maybe a few months already, they reject the implants. Maybe some people also refuse to take antibiotics because they think the body can cope with it. And then also remember, if you study the anatomy of the tooth and the structure of the tooth, remember when I was studying kinesiology, they were naming all the articulations, and the articulation which the tooth has, even if it's not an articulation like your elbow, like in your hands, like your knee, it's a more stable articulation. But it has a little bit of movement because around the root of the tooth, up to the base of the tooth, there is a ligament which is called parodontal ligament. This ligament acts like a shock absorber in the car. So every time you chew, you have a shock absorber which protects the bone and the tooth itself in their work. When you put the implant, you drill the bone and you insert a screw, and on this screw will be put a tooth. Every time you chew, there is no shock absorber. So even if the implant remains after a certain number of chewing, you will have the rejection of the tooth because there is no shock absorber.
Sounds like the bumpy pothole rides that we have in
Yes.
the car, you know. There's plenty of potholes around the country lanes in Sussex, so boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out, and people not even consider that, because up to maybe the discovery of the implants, all the traditional dentistry was oriented in calling the preservation of the teeth. Now they don't care, because they say, oh, we can, a tooth is painful or is broken, we take it out and we put the implant. Yes, but then after a certain life of this implant, what will happen? You are without the tooth, and also remembering that the tooth that, for example, with Giovanni, we developed an incredible philosophy in approaching the mouth of the people and ourselves. When you lose a tooth, we have devices which were already known years ago at the maximum of their development, and they are like a sort of braces. They are like plates or deflects. They are different, you know, in which you put in the mouth. They are mobile. So you take them out to wash and clean after you have eaten, but they keep also the teeth in alignment, so that, because when you lose a tooth, and especially if you lose it completely with the root, the teeth start to move, because they tend, like in nature, to fill up the space. And moving the teeth, you also have not anymore the bite, the perfect bite when you chew. In this way, it's very important, if you lose a tooth, to replace this gap, or to create something which holds the gap and creates the stability in the mouth. Because of this, they are the latest acquisition. There are also in this department, you can put, if it's a single or a pair of teeth, you put a device which is called D-Flex, which is patented, is an evolution of the surgical nylon, so it's atoxic, is not poisonous, and does not absorb, because normally some of the traditional or danger of these devices, they are absorbing the odors, and they change color. It's not so nice, you know. When this is totally it does not decay, undecayable, and in that case, it's very practical, because it has the little hooks before and after. They stabilize on the existing teeth without damaging the teeth, but creating a fantastic substitution for the missing tooth or missing teeth, which enables also, when you chew, the false tooth is done in order that stimulates the gum underneath.
I'm doing it now.
You are one, yes.
Yes, I have one here.
It's
When the tooth fell out,
yeah.
Giovanni did make a deflex and put it back in. So every time I chew, the meridian is still being stimulated, and my teeth haven't moved, because he did it fairly promptly. It was I had a gap for a few months, and that was
The
about
time
it.
to prepare, the laboratory was preparing. Also, I want to say this deflex is used also in the normal dentistry to replace, when they make an implant, for example, the replacement, they give a temporary replacement with this, and then it's thrown away, which is very expensive, and also could stay like this. It's not, it does not create all the harm that the implants are creating, you know.
Can you tell me a bit more about the philosophy that you developed with Giovanni when you were working in Japan? You got partway through the story of the lady with her 3 fillings. So what happened?
It's happened that we just arrived after 12 hours flight, which is not like to go to Australia for sure. But I remember we were commuting every 3 months. So we were going to Japan, and sometimes the flight was heavy, and then you land normally in the morning. and then you have the custom, everything long, long queues, and you have to go through passport control, custom control. Normally, when you go to Japan, you're lucky if you do everything in 1 hour. You're lucky, because normally it is between 1 hour and a half and 2 hours. We were arriving, wow, there was this crowd. And
busy airports then.
very busy. Narita is quite busy, and also
Okay.
is far away from the center of Tokyo. So the best was Haneda. We were living also close to Haneda, but now they are start to reconsider to enlarge in Haneda, which is on the sea. Narita is inland, a little bit more inland, north of Tokyo. And we arrived one morning, it was a Wednesday, because normally we were traveling on Wednesday, beautiful day for traveling. And also we arrived, and Mariko, our organizer there, she, as soon as we met her, after all the paraphernalia, customer, she gives the good news. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I had to book you early this time, because normally when we arrive in Japan, in order to overcome the jet lag, we go to this beautiful spa, which in Japanese are called onsen. This is the spring thermal water, which most of the time is already hot. They have sometimes to refrigerate it, because it's too hot, you would burn in it. And we were already dreaming, as soon as we arrived, we put down our luggage and everything. We go to the spa, and then relax and recharge from the jet lag. No, we arrived, and we have two ladies that they had, one, she had a big problem with one tooth, plus two other teeth, but one was the worst, one in the middle, and the last one was a superficial cavity.
Okay.
And she wanted also to have my session. So in the meantime, that Giovanni was preparing he needed time. He always, when we travel, he needs time to prepare his studio, with all the material. So she gets a colonic and reflexology like usual. And then after the colonic and reflexology, she's ready for going to Giovanni. Says, "Okay, I'm ready." So I send her up, and she goes, and Giovanni has to do a big work in the first two teeth. One was really big damage. So almost we arrived at 7 o'clock, and
The spa
was ready for us. Oh, she was fantastic. She did not show any pain. Giovanni says, I was astonished, because this big tooth was already arrived to the nerve. And then we say, "Okay, can you allow us to go to the spa now at 7 o'clock? It's very late." We started to work. It was 2 o'clock. And you can come on Saturday, because this is a superficial cavity. We not need much to do.
Okay.
And she was very happy to do that, because she did already 2 teeth in that session, Everybody was happy. We went to the spa, we enjoyed like crazy, fantastic. And then we arrived to Saturday. We were working regularly all the other days. On Saturday, she was put at the end of all the other appointments. So it was at 2 o'clock.
Only a little filling.
Very
Itsy
little
bitsy filling. Okay.
So I finished my work with my clients, and then she arrives, and I say, "Okay, you can go to Giovanni." Giovanni says that he needs a maximum 20 minutes for the film. So I'm sitting there waiting for Giovanni, and after 20 minutes, I see Giovanni coming down, all sweat to the face, totally desperate. And he said, "I cannot touch her tooth." As soon as I arrive to the drill, just to clean it, she jumps and she's screaming. Okay,
It's not a good idea in a dentist chair, is it, to be
yes,
jumping up and down?
exactly.
And,
It's care of this, because when people have a reaction that they put problems, we have a drill.
Drill.
Is a drill, and at the time we were using a special drill which was 100,000 revolutions per minute. It's very fast, and this was with air compressed air. Then now we have the one in electric. It's 200,000. It's much faster, and also less, maybe for less sensitivity. Anyhow, also good news is studying. There is a laser that can do the cleaning the cavity before the filling, and probably this does not give any pain. It's very expensive. We are seeing if we will get found and we save some money, we pay by installments.
Okay. So this is the advancements in dental technology. Okay. So drilling could be a thing of the past.
Yes, it will become. For the moment, we are using very special instruments which are at the top of the art at the moment. 200,000 revolution, the drilling is very quick. And
Okay,
also
what happened to this lady?
okay, this lady, then
Giovanni,
relax, because Giovanni is very emotional. He's scared. Giovanni, relax. And let's calculate what is different. You see. He was shocked because he said, the last time it was Wednesday, I was drilling like if there is no future in all these big holes, this cavity. Now I cannot touch a tooth. And she jumps and say, okay, the tooth can be related with the meridian.
Okay.
But I remember, let's analyze, let's do like Sherlock Holmes. Start to see what is the evidence and what is not necessarily. So I said, last time, before having your session, she came to me and she had a colonic and a reflexology. Remember, the colonic is a fantastic tool to approach the nervous system, because the nervous system is ruled by the colon. So an overloaded colon would affect the sensitivity of the nerves and the nerve endings.
Okay.
So I said, now I got this intuition in that moment, and I said, Giovanni, I think that already with a colonic, because this is a superficial cavity, she would be ready to accept your treatment. And he said, but she did it the colonic on Wednesday. And I said, yes, but from Wednesday up to now, how many meals she must have had? She must have had at least 12 meals, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Okay.
So, okay, I said, okay, I do as a scientific experiment. I went to the lady. She was a very tall Japanese, very tall. She was like 6 feet and more. Yes, very tall. She was speaking also English. She had a little bit, you saw her because she had short hair, white salt and pepper. And she was fantastic. And I told her, do you mind if I give you a colonic for free? You're also participating to a scientific experiment. Maybe with this, your sensitivity would diminish. She agreed. And she said, but I paid the same. She said, I had the colonic already on Wednesday. You have eaten for all these days, and probably you did not release perfectly. So there is. So we went and we had the colonic, half an hour. It was not a long colonic. And then I sent her up to Giovanni. And 20 minutes later, they were all coming down smiling and shocked, because Giovanni said, now I could read. She was relaxed and everything. And so from that moment, it was 15 years ago, I said, Giovanni, maybe we have another breakthrough, because now we understand that the intestine is ruler of the nervous system. The nerve endings of the teeth are very sensitive. So if we maybe prepare the person with a colonic, you can have an effect which enables you not to work for hours, or maybe to delay the work, because we never had any injection for anything. So we also remember that the injection. I remember my brother-in-law, when I was going to him to replace, because I had the mercury feeling 30 years ago exactly, I remember that I got a victim of this campaign. It was like a wave. The mercury in the mouth is affecting your brain, your nervous systems, and everything. So, Jesus, I had the mercury feeling already when I was a teenager. I went, and they were perfect. And I went to my brother-in-law, and he said, but why do you want to remove them? They're perfectly sealed, But no, because, the mercury is dangerous for the intoxication and everything. Also, remember that the first study on the mercury was done in Japan, in the Minabata Bay, where they were dumping the mercury release of the treatment of the skins and furs and everything. And then the people got sick. All the people got sick. It was the first study, mercury sick. So, because of this, I asked my brother-in-law to pull out this, I don't know, it was 4 or 5 fillings. And then he replaced he said, I want to do a good work. You're my brother-in-law. So he did in composite, he made the shape of the filling, and then he glued the filling inside. 2 years later, I met Giovanni for the first time when he came to me. And he looked at my teeth and said, but you have infiltration there. So he said, be careful. He replaced immediately these, they're like inlays practically. So he replaced clean, and he replaced the inlay with the filling. And then, but he said, be careful, because you have taken out the amalgam before, and my brother-in-law was a little bit heavy, and he wanted to clean the tooth very well, because normally the filling infiltrates in the tooth, so the tooth becomes darker. But then, in order to clean it, the dentist normally they drill a little bit more to make sure that they took off all the mercury, which is mercury, that's mercury filling. But the mercury after amalgam, after a few years, is not effective anymore. I studied this, unfortunately, too late.
Okay.
When the
So
damage is there.
you did. You
So
had your mercury or amalgam fillings
in
taken out.
96, I remember. And then my teeth started to become weaker, because when you take off the amalgam, you also scrape the walls of the tooth.
Okay.
And then the tooth becomes weaker. When you do the filling, whatever material you use, composite or glass ionomeric, every time that you chew, you exercise a pressure on the tooth, which distributes like to open. So sooner or later, walls are breaking down. That's what Giovanni saw immediately, and he said, you better have crowns, because the crown does the opposite work, caps the tooth and protects it forever. So that's why I had to replace the filling. Well, you leave the filling like a reconstruction, and then you put the crown, because I started to see I was going to lose the teeth, because they break down. And then when they break down, what do you do? Or you do the deflex, or you deflex, or you do the brace. But now I still have all my teeth in the mouth, thanks this. And the latest have been in zircon, which is the best material. That's also why some dentists, they call themselves holistic, because they use the zircon. I say the zircon is the artificial diamond, so they think it's better than the metals. In fact, before, the technicality was the ceramic crown, which had a frame underneath of metal.
Okay.
Sometimes it was gold with lead, with other minerals, other metals. And now the zircon is the latest technology. It is a piece of zircon which is artificial diamond. It's like a stone. And then it gets worked with a special boring machine. The best one is in Germany, where we have the best connection. And they have such a precision in this work, which goes on the tooth, which has to be very well prepared. That's what Giovanni is able to do. And then you have your zircon crown, which is a diamond. Then you become a jewel by yourself, because you have your teeth. Yes. So going back to that lady,
we'll get there.
I'm sorry, because many description enable me to connect with many explanations.
Okay, so back to the lady.
The lady, then we discovered from that moment that doing the colonic, we diminish fantastically the threshold of the pain in the body. And some people, they don't feel pain, but they react with the fear, because I've studied this, and one of the worst terror that people have in this society is the dentist fear. In fact, when they arrive, sometimes they don't dare even to come closer to the seat. They start to talk. They gain time in order to delay, because they're really scared. In fact, the first one to be scared is the dentist, because he's using the needle to make sure that you don't feel the pain, which in reality you don't feel the pain, but the body feels all what's happening. Plus, you introduce these toxins. And I remember my brother-in-law, because once I came to him and I told him, but when you do the injection, he will say, oh, you're brave, you don't complain, you allow yourself to be drilled, And I said, no, I don't want this injection, because I know how dangerous they are. Also, say there is a report that out of 1 million, I think, I don't remember the number, sorry, maybe I am wrong, but there is a statistics that one person out of 1 million or 10 million, they would die of anaphylactic shock. And then he said, yes, I know, but I made the insurance. So if he dies, I am covered, because I do everything by protocol. This was my brother-in-law who died a few years ago. So for the dentist, I always say the priority is to follow the protocol, because following the protocol, whatever damage could occur, is safe and protected by the rules and by the government. The government has created by the natural health system the protocols which in a way oblige also the dentist to do what they are doing. So in order to stay safe, they do this. And if somebody has an anaphylactic shock, is considered an event that
God
is
forbid.
reasonable.
Ah,
Because
okay.
one out of 1 million. Important
Okay,
is
so
it's not
hang on.
deal with.
So just want to recap on some of the stuff you just said. So if people have got
Yeah.
mercury fillings like myself, because that's how we got put mercury in
Yes.
there, and they've all been, as over time, they've been pulled out and replaced with composite. Are you saying that even if you've got mercury fillings, you can put a zircon crown on that tooth just to protect it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not only, Jeff. If you have a mercury filling, if it is freshly done, it's good to take it out because it has not gripped anyhow and has not infiltrated the walls of the tooth, and you replace the mercury filling with some other material. Also, remember that Giovanni has made a research for years and has found that there are only 2 fillings type which have no fluoride in their composition. Because normally people are very aware now not to use fluoride, especially in the New Age department, because I was assisting Dr. Marshall when he was going in each village in Canada to promote the non-acceptance of the free fluoridization of the water in the village, because there was a big campaign. They were offering the fluoridization for free. So they say, oh, it's very good for the teeth and everything. When we were bringing all the pictures, the slides at the time of the projector, we were showing the slides with all the damage. This was 45 years ago, 80.
Okay, back to Jeff's point about if you've got a mercury filling.
It's better to, if it's older than 5 years, don't be worried. The damage that the mercury could have created has already been done. So now you are only enjoying the benefit of this filling, which creates a situation in the tooth which protects in a way the tooth. We see sometimes fillings which are 40 years old and the tooth is perfect. And Giovanni say, preserve it, give an eye once in a while, check that does not lose the border seal. Because if this breaks down, then there is the possibility of an infiltration, and this infiltration will accelerate the decay of the tooth.
Okay, so is that the point that you were making, Jeff? That
in fact, most of mine, as kids, we called it the murder house.
Yep.
So
yeah,
the schools had dental nurses there, so you had that old-fashioned drill,
and it was slower.
Yeah, it was really slow. And of course, I think they really looking for anybody cavity to get into it.
Yep.
So the question is, some of those are 50 years old. Yeah. So they're okay. You don't have to get them taken out. Yeah.
No.
Don't touch them. Only check with a good, intelligent, and responsible dentist that they are not infiltrated. So it means that the board, let's say this is the tooth as a cavity, there is a filling of a mercury filling amalgam. So there we go. Yes, but you have to understand that the border where the filling is arriving has to be perfectly in contact with the walls. Then this will forbids to infiltrate.
Right.
Then if this is breaking down, then it's time to take it out. But sometimes it takes out, like with a little leverage, it comes out.
Pops out. Yeah. When it's time to come out.
When it has already been infiltrated. Okay. Otherwise, it does not come out like this. It's glued, practically grips on the walls, and is perfectly protecting the tooth. Yeah. So you have your tooth much more protected because if you take off the filling, unfortunately, as I told you before, they have to drill part of the walls, and this makes the walls thinner, and then they can break much easier.
So at that point, just to reassure Jeff that his teeth and if you've got mercury fillings,
don't worry, they are all
leave them there.
They
Oh my-
protect your teeth, and the damage they have done when they put inside of you.
So
Fine.
the body is adjusted to the
understand. So my next
to the
question,
idea of them.
a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago, right inside the gum, right at the towards the back wisdom tooth, a little pocket of a little balloon that sort of came out of the gum there, and I thought, what's caused that? So I got some clove oil and just put dabs of
Yeah.
clove oil on it, and there wasn't any pain, but it was just like a little, what would you call it, an abscess, I suppose, or little
Okay.
Swelling, maybe.
well, it's a little balloon swelling, yeah. Anyway, the clove oil, I did that over about 3 or 4 days, and it's all gone now. Is there any particular reason how that would have come about?
Ah.
Was that because was I fed up to the back teeth? Is that how that came about?
Was he fed up to the back teeth?
No.
An emotional level, quite likely.
Well, more than that, you must have had some, unless you have eaten something wrong, which has affected the kidney and the bladder, because the wisdom teeth are connected with the bladder, and especially the bladder and the kidney. If you had some wrong food in that period, which we start from the easiest, then we can go to more sophisticated explanations. But we start to consider the organ which is related, which is bladder, and of course the kidney. The bladder and the kidney are affected by wrong eating. For example, if you eat meat, or if you drink alcohol, or if you eat sugar, or if you eat animal food. This is already one. Or tomato, potatoes. Wow, this if you have potatoes, it could happen. Then, if you did not do any mistake because you're perfectly eating what we suggest in the system, then the second level is energetical. You have drained too much your energy of the kidney and bladder. Maybe you did not rest enough. You had maybe a long period of work and maybe busy, so you could not recover with the sleep what you needed. Then let's say that instead of this, you did not have that. We had to enter in the emotions.
Okay.
And the emotions are related with insecurity, fear, lack of self-esteem, something that was worrying you that it could happen, that you did not like it.
So this is all with his wisdom tooth.
This is the wisdom.
With the wisdom tooth.
Yes, and also
bladder meridian.
Yes, also the wisdom tooth, we have to see if it is the right or the left.
Is it the right or left?
Right.
Right. It was on the material level. If it was the left, it would be on the emotional level. So you can start to observe that one indication of a single, and also he was speaking about a little like an abscess on the gum. And this, remember, that's a beautiful question because it enables me to put out the subject of what, the big difference between the normal mainstream and what we are telling the people. You know, in the mainstream, and also when I was studying in medicine, you study that the teeth and the gums are a source of infection. So they bang on this like crazy with the antibiotics, with the medicine, with the medical drugs and everything, not understanding that is the opposite way. The teeth and the gums are a way out of intoxications that we have put in our body. So when we see this, the first thing to do is to clean more the body. Because the body is already telling us that it's cleaning. And the little swelling is like the vacuum cleaner bag, which has collected all the rubbish and is ready to release it. It can release it through the circulatory system. Or, for example, I remember in a very stressful moment, it was a few years ago, I had a little lump which swelled inside the palate. Not an abscess, which normally the abscess goes underside, in the palatal side, on the left side. And I remember at a certain point it was a little bit, maybe I was helping too much nature. And I put my fingertip and I pressed a little bit and it exploded. And then he released, after releasing, I don't know, it was blood, pus or whatever, liquid, then it remained a sort of tunnel. Giovanni, when he saw that, he could not believe it. He said, first time in my life I see something. It was a tunnel which was going through the palate. And he said, and I said, but I don't care. It will do what has to be done. And then I went to sleep that day. And then when I was in the half sleep in the bed, sleep, I started to see when I was 17. And I remember when they did the filling of this tooth beside, they gave me an injection, which I almost fainted for the pain. They touched probably some nerve or something, and I was almost collapsing. And this probably after maybe 55 years, or 50 years, my body was having the way to release out what has been, violently given to the body. So this was also fantastic because Giovanni, then in few months, I went also to India, I still had this, and then after he finished, and it's closed up. Okay. So when there are these, it's good what you did with the clove oil. You can use also the coconut oil with a drop of clove oil. You can do the mouth pulling even twice a day. This helps exteriorly, but the real interior help has to be cleaning the intestine, cleaning the liver, because remember that the gum is strictly related with the liver. So when you have gum problems, you have always to look at the organ which is connected with it. For example, we had this case of last year, this lady who phoned you on the 6th of January, and she phoned Pauline that she wanted to have a session with Giovanni just to check because her teeth were all, she had a terrible pyorrhea with gums bleeding and teeth which were wobbling. And then she was diagnosed that she had to pull out all her teeth, put implants like they did with David, the same, And so Pauline, she told her, Giovanni is not here, he will be here in 2 months. But in these 2 months, you can prepare yourself to receive his visit. So eating the right food. And it was the 6th of January. Then Giovanni... Epiphany, yes. Then Giovanni came here on the 12th of February. Then we started to see all the people who had already the appointments, and this lady probably fell out of the grid, so the net. And then at the end of his stay, we said, but this lady that she phoned you on the side, because sometimes I have these memories coming up to me, and she phoned her, and she said, at the moment, I don't need your intervention because my teeth and my gums are perfect. She had only changed the food. This is a matter of good luck and goodwill, because as soon as she has been given the list of yes, no food, she applied immediately, and she saw this result in less than 1 month, in 1 month and a half. And then she came in June, I think, because she said, now I have time, I can just have a check just to see if there is anything to be done. But she was phenomenally satisfied, and for us is the best achievement, because it's not when you intervene, the damage has already been done. Instead, if you can prevent, as you said before, and she has now firm teeth, good mouth. Also, normally, when there is this situation, all the people have to be very careful because they can have also bad breath from the gums. This releases material which is rotting. So in this way, Giovanni is using a great help is the laser treatment with oxygen peroxide, because with the laser, you put the oxygen peroxide between the gum and the tooth. And then with the laser, you stimulate this oxygen peroxide, which will become ozone. Okay. In this way, this ozone is clearing and sanitizing the situation, and the people immediately feel the benefit. But we say, don't throw away the benefit. If you keep on eating the wrong food, you will recreate the situation. We are not here to milk the people to do the things. But we are helping the people to find the right way. When we don't, yes.
I just want to ask Jeff.
How do you cleanse the liver?
Pardon?
How do you cleanse the liver?
How do you clean the liver?
Very good question, Jeff. Maybe we should go in the old meeting we had, the liver, first way to clean the liver is to avoid to intoxicate the liver. Stop intoxication, because as soon as you stop the intoxication, already the liver starts to work in self-cleaning. You want to help, okay, there are foods which you must feel you love them, otherwise don't use them. But the sour food, let's say like fruits which are sour, is like the sour cherry or the, well, no, not so many, the strawberries now, they are all unfortunately not only sweet, they are genetically manipulated. There is the risk that they are genetically manipulated.
Other sour things?
The citrus fruits, the kiwi, that very good, especially the yellow kiwi. Some people, the green kiwi, they don't like, but the yellow kiwi can be very good. Everything which has a lot of citric acid in it, because it's a beneficial for the liver. Sauerkraut, phenomenal. I love sauerkraut. Yeah.
Any of them resonating with you, Jeff?
You must love them, otherwise, or like them. If you feel a rejection, don't have them, because means that there is another organ which is opposite of the liver, which maybe likes to work in balancing the liver. So the opposite organ of the liver is the intestine and the lung, and this likes the spicy food, and the other opposite organ is the spleen, stomach, and pancreas, which like the sweet taste. Okay. So we have to check always in this department what you like most, in order to understand also how the body is reacting, because not always all the body they work mathematically the same procedure. Each organ has its own frame, its own program of self-balancing and cleaning. Also remember that the emotions are also very important in affecting the energy of the organs, which then have to produce a certain result. Anyhow, they are fantastic. The greens also fantastic for the liver, all which have the green, which is magnesium, the chlorophyll, and very good herbs for the liver are the dandelion, the thistle, the milk thistle, and the artichoke. They are also very good.
Do you like any of those?
Well, I'll tell you, I do make a juice. I use celery, carrots, apple, green apples, a big pardon, pears. I throw in lemons, limes, beetroot, and sometimes I get oranges if it's. I always get local stuff. I don't get the imported.
Yeah.
Good. If you know the fruit which is called sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn is an orangey taste. It's awful, but for example, when you like it, it means that your liver is asking for it together with the stomach. And it has one of the highest level of vitamin C, which in your body then, if the liver is okay after it's clean, becomes vitamin B12. That's a big problem. We were speaking in the previous lectures.
Valida do a juice of that.
What?
Valida. They do a juice of sea buckthorn.
They do in Tuscany, exactly, where my neighbor does this for Valida. Yes.
Yes. So he collects the berries.
They have a big organic industrial farming. They collect the berries, like fruits, and then they process them in a beautiful.
Do you have them in Australia?
What's that, goji berry?
No, not goji berries. Sea buckthorn.
No,
SEABUCKTHORNE.
No, I can't recall, but there might be someone watching who might be up.
Don't remember. Anyhow,
what about
the goji berry? Not good, Remember, you say the goji berry, they are nightshades. They are no good for us. Even they promote from the advertisement that they are good for the health. The goji berry are the same family like the tomatoes, the potatoes, nightshades. Yes. Okay. So what we said.
Yeah, you get a bit sidetracked, yes.
Because the subject.
Yoga. When I was over in Greece last year, the Greeks have their breakfast there where they have the muesli and fresh fruit, and then they put honey, and then they put yogurt.
Yeah.
And when I come back to Australia, that's been my new go-to breakfast. Is there any benefit? I mean, I can feel the benefit of having the honey. It's pure honey. I get that straight from the beekeeper. So what about the yogurt? What's the benefit of having yogurt? Is that a probiotic?
Vegetable yogurt, not animal yogurt. Remember, because we are speaking about the vibration that you put into your body. Remember, maybe we had a talk on the spleen.
Spleen cleaning, heaven on earth.
Yes, spleen is affected by all the animal frequencies, so it's better to avoid them. And the yogurt is processed by these bacillus, but if there is the cow or sheep or goat milk, it's not suggestible to the people. I prefer that you try, maybe there are very good coconut milk yogurt. Now they are starting in Italy, they do the rice milk, the sprouted rice milk yogurt. And you can have yourself, if you take, I remember 40 years ago in Germany, 35 years ago when I was working in Germany, they were selling the yogurt enzymes, the bacteria, for the animal yogurt and for the vegetable yogurt.
Are they the same enzymes or different?
No, different. The yogurt I remember the box. It was a little box with little small envelopes of these enzymes that you put in the yogurt. And then from that you can start it's like yes. And the blue one was for the animal yogurt and the green one for just to remind, it was beautiful. I was bringing them back because the cost of the flight was too much. So I was driving there maybe 10 hours, go to Berlin. Yes.
So in Jeff's case, he was talking about the muesli and fruit. So he's mixing the grains and the fruits together. And also what is it, the benefit? What do you feel when you're having the honey, Jeff?
Honey? Because we've got a problem in Australia. We've got one of the major honey companies who have been bought out by the Chinese, and they're bringing in syrup from China.
Right.
And they give it to their beekeepers, who then place it outside the hives. And
yes,
the bees are taking that syrup back into their hive. And so the honey actually becomes crystalline. And so it actually it breaks down. It's not really pure honey. Whereas these natural beekeepers, and they have them at the markets and all that stuff, it's pure. It lasts for ages, or it lasts for years, really. So I've noticed that when you have the honey there, even if it's a tablespoon and you put it on that cereal, it seems to bind everything. And of course, you think of the gods, from Egypt and all that stuff, pharaohs, which was drinking, it was honey and ambrosia, wasn't it?
Yes. And also I've seen it here in England where the beekeepers are using icing sugar to feed the bees. And it has the same effect on the bees as it has on us. So
not only. We have to study the digestive system of the bees. And the honey is the perfect food for them. They have the honey as their own food. When we take off the food from them and we substitute with all this crap that we have created, we decay the bees, and they start to have the immunity system and the nervous system. They get crazy, yeah? And
it's so crazy.
Yes, and they start to be attacking and everything. And when we should not use the honey, because in order to digest the honey, we need a lot of enzymes that they are difficult.
We're not bees.
We are not bees, yes. The digestive system of the bee is perfect for them, for their honey. In fact, they use also another terrible stuff that is used now is this syrup, agave syrup.
Agave syrup.
Be careful, because I have already reports from many people, the agave syrup is decaying your teeth, like melting your teeth. And so be careful. What we suggest that you use or maple syrup, which is quite acceptable, the malts. Malts, the easiest is barley or rice or any grain.
You get those in Australia, Jeff? Rice malt, barley malt.
In order to make the bread, they have to use some.
I believe so. I believe that's there.
Yeah. My favourite was millet malt many years ago, but it hasn't been in England for about
Germany.
Yeah, but it hasn't been in England for about 18 years now, and it tasted like liquid toffee. It was so delicious.
The next time we go to Germany, maybe it's good to buy maybe a bucket. Like with many other things, you know, it's interesting.
Okay.
Also in the European community, I can order in Italy. When we come here, we can.
So Jeff's little abscess, and you put some clove oil on it.
Yeah, it's about a week. Just a dab of it in the morning, and then
Or
at
the
night.
tip of a
Gum.
I just put it on my finger and just dipped it.
earbud thing, you know.
I just use my finger. And just,
all right. And what time of the year was it? What month? Because you're the opposite down under.
yeah, so it'd been in June, the last week of June.
June, last week of June. So that's winter time, isn't it? It's your full winter.
Yeah, you see, winter is also the season of the kidney.
Okay.
So the kidney is trying to give you some signals you better keep in consideration. Signals it means they need more expected. You have not to abuse the energy of the kidney. Finish. And then the food is one, but it can be the stress, it can be some situation, whatever.
Okay, I want to ask you a question because somebody contacted me yesterday about their child, a 5-year-old child. So I'm assuming that 5-year-old child has milk teeth and hasn't yet got their second teeth. But the dentist wanted to fill it.
Well, it depends because we consider in the natural life system, we consider the milky teeth like the sweeper. They collect all the toxins and everything to have the new teeth more healthier and more strong. So they can have cavities, but the cavities in the milky teeth, you can feel them, but they fall out also. It's not.
Why?
Because the grip, there is not the same enamel and the structure of the normal tooth. But anyhow, also they are smaller, so you cannot do big fillings. You know, they can fall out. We see. So you see, remember in the case of daughter or son, he fell out of the filling many times.
Yeah.
But that's okay because the milky teeth, they have to be respected and to be understood. They are also related with the organs, but they change because the milky teeth weighs much less than when we have the full set of teeth. And of course, they tell us also what's happening in the food level and in the emotional level of these children.
Okay.
So it's very important. Sometimes, especially if the child is 5 years old, as Rudolf Steiner say, the child is the expression of the inner world of the mother. So the child is expressing what the mother does not, because she's a rational person. Certain emotions, certain feelings maybe could not be expressed. Social, relational, whatever. So she keeps this inside. So when I look at the mouth of the children, and I see the teeth decaying on the milky teeth level, we understand that there is a food mistake for sure. Then there is an emotional mistake. It could be, but not of the child. The child has not big emotional mistakes. The imbalance is always related to a mother's situation. If she has some problems with the father or with the economy, with the organization, if she has some stress or whatever, this becomes interesting because we can understand that through the milky teeth decaying what's happening in the mother, not in the child. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's say that again.
That
the
child is expressing what the mother is holding inside. Up to the 6th year, especially, sometimes also later, but normally in the first years of age. Remember, Rudolf Steiner said that child and mother are one unit. Only they are physically separated, energetically they are one. And the child has not yet the rational mind which has been developed, so expresses naturally what the mother is experiencing inside.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. So the talk title or the conversation we were going to have is what the dentists won't tell you. So first of all, they won't tell you what they don't know. That's fair enough. Okay, we can forgive them all for that.
Yes.
And
Also,
in
they
their
tell
behavior.
they tell you what. Imagine if you could go to the medical university. Sometimes I was always laughing because I've been 5 years in the medical university. It is like to go to the military academy. You have to stay in the discipline. What has been told you, you have to stay with the rules, with the protocols and everything. So you should not dare to think different, because it's like if you are a deserter or you are a traitor, and you cannot even, some people are in such a good faith, they cannot imagine that the big boss, the big teacher is teaching you crap, because because this is for nature is crap. Also, they don't study anymore the philosophy, which let's say 50 years ago, let's say 60, because 60 years ago, I attended the school, the secondary school, which in Italy was only for those who have to become doctors.
Okay.
So if you went to the medical university, you could not access if you had another diploma. You must have this diploma, which was the humanistic school. It was called in Italian Liceo Classico, because in that school you study philosophy, you study the Greek language, you study the history of the Romans, the Greek and everything, very deeply, because the concept was that a doctor has to deal with a human person, with a human being. So dealing with him, you cannot deal with a car, he's not a mechanic. But in the last 200, 300 years, the philosophy and the methodology has taught the scientists to consider the human body as a machine, as a mechanical machine. So that's why now the best surgeons, and maybe some, now in Italy, now they start to change because they see the disaster they have done. But because the doctor is like a mechanic dealing with your car. You go to the dealers because you have to do the MOT, you have to do the annual check, and they do the same like they do the doctors now. They have a computer, they plug the computer, they see all the data. You take this blood sample and they check all the ingredients. They say, oh, you have the liver, you have the transaminases, you have the talking all the dates that they have, but the doctor does not do anything anymore. I would like to remember and to remind in this. You give me such a beautiful opportunity to give this message to the people that 30 years ago, the hardest subject in the medical school was the semiotic. Semiotic is a subject which obliges you to study the science of the body. So the doctor's most important subject that he had to study was very difficult. He had to know all the science that the body was given in order to understand what the body was doing. So he had to be expert in smelling the odor of the skin, the odor of the breath, the odor of the feces, the odor of the urine. He was also testing the urine. They had to test the urine because from the urine they could understand. But you had to study this. Also the lines of the wrinkles, the colors of the bottom of the eyes, the noise. I don't know if you remember, when I was a child, my mother was taking me to the doctor. The doctor was telling you to say a special word with the R, 33. It's a number, because doing this, 33, you vibrate your vocal cords and everything. So with the phonendo, he was listening to the lungs and to what was happening in your chest. He was doing this. This was 70 years. Jesus. Yes. I still remember because the doctor was living. We were living in the mountains, and then our house was on top, and the doctor's house was just maybe 200 meters below. So we were walking down, and I was always afraid when I had to go. I don't know why. But then, if you know my story of the early trauma which I received, now I could understand. I was terrified to go to the doctors. And everything.
So the doctors would study all of the 5 senses in the body of another
And the
person.
secretion of the
And the
sense
secretion,
organ, because also the smell of
Symbiote.
the earwax, the type of the mucus. Yeah. Yes. So that's 130 years ago. The
Okay.
best doctor had
Wow.
these tools to understand what was happening in the
Okay.
body. Even if it was still based, they were still using the herbs. They were using the mugwort. They were using these herbs.
Okay.
But the most important subject it was semiotic. Now, if you go to the university, medical university, semiotic is a chapter of a subject which is called the history of medicine, which is not compulsory. You cannot even study that because it's not considered important in your plan of study, And that's what tells you what we have changed, and we need to come back to the origin. The Chinese doctor was paid if his patients were healthy. If they were sick, the doctor would not receive the money. So his interest would have been to keep the people healthy, to prevent, because when they were sick, his salary was blocked. So the same here, it's the opposite. Now, if there is no sickness, the doctor cannot have revenue, because what do they do there? I would be happy if we keep them busy just going on holiday. Don't I remember also in the 90s, there was a statistics that when they were still at that time, there were the strikes of the doctors in Italy. And they recorded that during the strike, there were less death rate. It was crazy. It was in the 90s. Yes, fantastic. Yeah.
So
Hey,
back to go on,
but
Jeff.
12 years ago, I had a fellow who was a medicine man who's trained by the Aborigines, and he put me onto mushroom toothpaste.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so it comes out like a normal, like your normal toothpaste, but in the packaging, but it's actually a mushroom based, and it actually it cleanses your mouth, but but you can actually swallow it. It's really good. It goes right into your gut, and it helps your gut.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Edible toothpaste.
that's my go-to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're still using it?
Yeah, I still use it. Yeah, I get them in.
And
it costs about 60. I think it's about $64. You get three tubes of 250 grams each. So they last. You only have to put a little smidgen on it, because once it goes into your mouth, it just expands.
And mushrooms have an affinity with the heart, isn't it? Or
no, the shiitake mushroom, because it depends what mushrooms is using. Maybe the maitake. Maybe it's the maitake.
Well, actually, what happened? We have to go back hundreds of years ago, and there's an emperor in China.
Yeah.
And he'd always go and get this physician who'd come from the mountains, and the physician came down with his herbs, but he'd always make up a potion using this mushrooms. It was used for his cleaning of his palate, and so his whole family, the emperor's families, were always cleaned. And so then he made it an order for this guy then to actually not only look after the emperor's family, but everybody else in the town, the village.
Wow, good.
Yeah. So
and now he's helping you.
No, but this is hundreds of years ago. But so this medicine fellow, he was up there in West Australia for 6 years. He got taught by the Aborigine medicine man up there. So he got taught a lot of stuff, all about the whirlies would turn up, and inside the whirlies would be extra dimensional beings from different constellations would turn up and start having a chat with the Aborigine guy. So he taught him all the different aspects of the different stars and how it reflects on the body. But he also taught him how to go walk about and how to look at different plants and plant medicines and stuff like that. How to walk through crocodile-infested waters, you know.
Mm. And there must be a very careful way to do that.
Yeah, you have some dogs and you go at dawn when the croc doesn't have enough energy to actually move. So
Yeah, so you have to time your walk across croc-infested waters. I think
Yeah,
it might be easier if a bridge were built.
yeah.
Or you get a little boat.
A boat.
You walk on the boat on a
Yeah. First thing in the morning, 6 o'clock, is it?
you can
Well,
do
just
like in Florida, they have this boat with a
it's just
propeller.
broken, but you have to understand, you know, they're a reptile creature, and they have to get the heat of the day to warm them up.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you have any dogs, if a croc takes one of the dogs, that's fine, you know, so no problem. But anyway, so
what else might the dentist not tell us? Go on.
okay, so let's come back to you mentioned kidneys. So what's what's the benefit? But you gave me the instructions for the liver. What do you do for the kidneys then?
For the kidney, for example, very good are the azuki beans as a food, you know, the azuki Hokkaido, which are very small. They're violet, purple, violet azuki beans. They're very good for the kidney. And the savory meal is good because the kidney savor is the salty savor. Taste, sorry. Yes.
Salty things.
Salty thing. Then whatever, tamari, shoyu, you know, the soy sauce, but also a grain which is fantastic for the kidneys, the barley. If you like barley, you can have barley,
like barley water
and barley soup. You know, barley, anything with barley is very good for the kidney. You must like it, you know.
Do you like it?
Then,
well, actually, I go down to the Indian wholesaler and I get all the different lentils, you know. So I got a pantry full of all these different lentils, and then I put them into a
lentils,
huge
be
pot.
careful with the lentils.
Well, I rinse them out.
Lentils, be careful. You should. No, keep me too.
Okay, so I cleanse them, and then the next morning I just skim them off again, and then I cook them up for about 8 hours, and then so I usually have a casserole type thing, you know, or soup
a lentil casserole. Okay.
Well, remember, I would like just to remind that Hildegard von Bingen, she was saying not to eat lentils, hazelnuts, and strawberries 800 years ago. But what I found, because I have lived a lot in India, the best lentils are the yellow dal and the orange dal. If you start to use big lentils, these are also might find that they're heavy for me, you know, heavy, not that they cannot digest, but if I can suggest you, use the yellow dal, which is the most digestible, and is also, because each color has also an effect on the organs.
Is there a difference between yellow lentil and yellow split peas?
You don't know.
Yeah, that's what I have. I mean, I have yellow split peas and kidney beans and azuki beans and the chickpeas and the split peas and they're all there. Yeah, broad beans. Yeah.
Okay.
The broad beans, I don't like very much.
I do.
You have to be careful also with the broad beans because they have too many purines. So when you cook it, you should put the kombu seaweed or sea vegetables, and do the same with the lentils.
Oh, yeah.
Will help to be more digestible and less aggressive to the body. You know.
You have kombu in Australia?
Yes.
Pardon me? What?
Kombu. Do you have kombu, sea kelp?
Yeah.
If you put a little piece of that in with when you're cooking.
Yeah. I put in Celtic sea salt. I use Celtic sea salt. And I use fennel as well. I seem to
Fennel.
really, yeah, love fennel. Yeah.
Fennel is very good for the stomach and for the intestine. Remember, so it's very good. Intestine and lungs and stomach, spleen and pancreas. So if you like fennel, very good for you. These organs are very happy and requesting you to have this energy.
What's the tea vegetable that the kidney? Oh,
Uh,
arame. Do you get arame in
yeah,
Australia?
I don't know.
They must have because they import from Japan.
You
Do
get a
they?
lot from Japan.
Do you?
Yeah.
But I tell
And
you,
there's a
that soup mix of all that stuff I just spoke to you about.
yeah.
Bloody hell, doesn't it make you fart?
Okay, now try this. Excuse me. Try cooking with kombu. Put the kombu in with it, because the kombu should attract and neutralize, shall we say, all this particular effect. Try it and see what happens.
Two more.
Chew more.
If you chew more, there is less fermentation.
Yeah. I always used to say farts were undigested thoughts, but that was just my take on it.
So it's
You
really
not digested.
fermentation. That's what's happening, is it? It's a fermentation process.
Yeah.
So should I be actually doing a more substantial rinsing?
More
No, chewing.
Chewing. Sometimes I have people who come complaining of certain disturbances, and I tell them, if you chew the food, already 50% of your problem, if not 80%, will disappear. And then who does like this reports that it is.
Okay. So there is an old adage that says, chew your drinks and drink your food. So keep the food in the mouth, chewing until it's liquid. And then that should help. I mean, is that something you do anyway?
Well, by the third day, I actually then put it into the Thermomix, and I add flour, and I turn them into fritters.
Ah, and what happens then?
I found that whilst they're nice hot, I find that if you put it in the fridge and leave it overnight and then come back the next day, they're even better, because they seem to the flavors seem to permeate right through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you get yourself some kombu, clean up all your lentils the way you like them.
Yeah.
What else do you do with it? Let me see if you've put it. Even if you cook the fruit, cooked fruit is different.
Different, yes. Also, dried fruits and cooked fruits can be mixed, because they already changed the pH. But then, of course, you need to chew thoroughly what you are eating. If you don't, it's a disaster.
So with rice, when I cook the rice, I put shredded coconut in with the rice, and then
nice.
So I just put a bit more layer of water on top, and then just wait for it to boil to the top, and then I just turn everything off, and it just the rice just seems to fluff up.
Okay. Even with the rice, you can add pieces of kombu. You don't have to eat the kombu. You can just cook it with it.
It's better if we put the powder, so it's not
kombu
powder.
All right.
So you can eat in the body. The kombu neutralizes the heavy metal, the radiation, and what are they called? The
free radicals.
Free radicals, yes. So the kombu is a fantastic.
Kombu, you get that in the health food shop, would you?
Can you say that again? We didn't quite hear it.
That kombu, do you get it at a health food shop, or you get that at a general store?
You find also in the Chinese shop, in the ethnic shops, you can find the kombu. It's very easy. In the health food shop, for sure, must be, because it's one of the base of a healthy nutrition, so
it's big fat seaweed, lengths of seaweed.
Yeah, but sometimes they use powder on pieces, because they cut already, they prepare.
Perhaps just
Yeah,
Google it and see what happens.
we got a lot of Japanese and Chinese supermarkets.
Yeah, Japanese will have it for sure.
Also, the Tororo kombu,
Mm.
they are the marinated kombu shredded.
Mhm.
Right.
So they sometimes they are marinated in the vinegar, in the rice vinegar, then dried again and then shredded. If you go in Asakusa Temple in Tokyo, there is an old man that stays in a little kiosk. He's sitting there and he's shredding the kombu, because the kombu is very big. You know, with one foot he holds the end of the kombu, with the other hand holds the kombu, and then with a very sharp razor blade, he does all these they look like air, you know. They
Oh,
melt in your mouth. These are a Japanese delicacy. Yeah?
Mhm. Well,
Right.
kombu is a major contribution to digestibility for all grains, for everything that pasta,
Anything.
pasta, noodles, everything. Just put a piece in when you're cooking with it,
Okay.
and you don't have to eat. You can whip it out, but it will. Yeah, you like to eat it
Well, it's better if it is
with a powder.
powder, or this you can make like blend. You know, just make like when it's the combo after it's been cooked, it's very
Yeah.
soft. So
Yeah.
you can blend it. This
All
is
right.
great, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Funny
you'll
enough,
have to report back.
oh, yeah. Well, the last 3 months I've had a taste for very Japanese food, and there's a restaurant that's opened up just down the road here, and it's all fresh. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Oh, great.
Very
Yeah,
digestible.
they probably know the secrets of kombu. And
Mm.
arami. Arami is a very nice sea vegetable
For the kidney.
for the kidney. Arame. And
Okay.
there's a beautiful delicacy that
We make it.
we make here. We serve
Japanese recipe.
it's
Yeah.
a Japanese recipe. It's a
Vinegar and soy mixed,
yeah.
50-50. And then you let in this jar the arami.
Mhm.
They soften up, and then you can use as a delicacy, like to garnish the meals and everything. Giovanni's crazy for that.
Yeah, you can sprinkle them on top of rice or on top of anything. Uh,
Very good.
You put on avocado, it's fantastic.
he likes it, yeah.
Got
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So
All
we've
right.
have we got anything else to say about what the dentists won't tell us? So there's first of all their behaviour and the fear of pain.
It's not a fault. They are trained to be like
Now, the
this.
secret is
Now,
the laser thing using ozone. Yeah.
Yeah.
this is interesting. But he uses also the laser when he has to put the crown, when the gum is grown too much, so would not allow the crown to be fit properly.
Mhm.
The laser also burns the gum in order to create the space, and it's not painful. It's fantastic. So he has created the space to arrive to the length of the crown, which is safer and durable.
Mm.
Good.
And there's
Okay.
also that lady
What?
who came to us that she was told that she would need to have a laser treatment every 3 months for the rest of her life.
No,
Right.
that's the orthodontic.
No, the laser lady.
Okay.
She's had 2 or 3 sessions, and
But she changed the diet.
she changed her diet. Yeah.
Very good.
If you change the diet, you see what the people normally say are miracles, because they cannot understand the connection with the right food and the behavior of the body. You know? Remember what I was saying before, the normal stream, the mainstream, sees teeth and gums as a source of infection. For us, we see them as a way out of toxins. So stop the intoxication, help the body to clean more, and then everything gets resolved without antibiotics, without painkillers, without all this stuff. And also the colonic is fantastic. The urine also, if I know that it seems to be crazy, but in India is quite a known therapy. There is also a beautiful book that we should suggest the people listen. The Water of Life, which was written in 1944 from Armstrong, was the inspirer of my teacher. And this is I like to.
Have you come across that before,
Now,
Jeff?
water.
It's The Waters of Life, and there's a very, very beautiful audio version of it on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you look up W. Armstrong, The Waters of Life,
Mhm.
it's beautifully written, beautifully orated,
Yeah.
very, very elegant 1944 kind of British language,
Yes.
BBC tone. It's very nice. Yeah,
It's like cheese and Worcester.
no Wattos, not a Wattos involved.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, love you, Olivia. Nice to have you on board today.
Thank
you.
Jeff. Thank you for inviting me. It's always nice to spread some information that can be helpful for the people, and
Yep.
then would avoid troubles in the future.
Okay. Good to see you again, Jeff.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you.
Love you
Bye for
both.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.